guys, welcome to Kenyan Baby Mama. I hope you guys are doing great and keeping safe. It's been a while, but I am back, and today I want us to talk about raising a teenager as a single parent. So I'll start by sharing some of the challenges that I've experienced, and I'm sure most of you can relate. So one of the things that I have experienced is guilt. And I'll explain why sometimes I feel guilty and as I raise my teenage daughter. This is mostly because teenagers can be very mean. When they are upset or when things are not going their way, when you discipline them and they don't want to be disciplined, they are pushing back. They can do and say things that make you feel like you are not doing a good enough job as a parent, or as if the other parent is the better parent. Sometimes I'll have situations where I don't agree with my daughter, or because I've instilled discipline and she's pushing back, and she will say things that are so hurtful that I sit back and I start wondering, am I really this bad of a parent that this child hates me so much? And for example, and I'm sure most of you have experienced this, where your child actually tells you they hate you. They tell you, I wish dad was here. I wish I could go live with dad. Dad would understand. Dad listens to me. If it was dad, he would have agreed. You never have money. Dad would have bought it. Never mind, I'll tell dad to buy it. And so many other things that make me, and you know, when you sit back as a parent and you're doing everything you can to give this child the best you can afford, and to, you know, raise them in a way that they're balanced and they're healthy emotionally, physically, psychologically, and then you hear them, you hear that same child telling you such things, it can be very hurtful, and you might start feeling guilty. Like you start wondering, am I too absent in their life? Is it because I work so much, I travel so much, or why? What am I doing wrong that makes this child feel this way? But to be honest, a lot of the times when kids lash out, and I've had this from other parents who have teenagers and parents who have raised teenagers, including my own, a lot of the times when children lash out, it usually has nothing to do with you being a bad parent. It's usually them expressing their own frustrations about things that they are maybe going through. You know, remember, these are teenagers. Their bodies are changing, they're growing, they're confused, they have hormonal imbalances. So it is usually not even linked to your parenting. So you just have to remember that, and later on we'll talk about how to deal with such tantrums. The other thing that I experience sometimes is I feel so overwhelmed because her father is not with us physically. He lives in very, very far away from us. As much as we're in a co-parenting relationship, it's usually online. They will video chat, we will talk on WhatsApp, but there are times things happen and I just feel so overwhelmed, because when he was here in the country, at least there are those things that used to happen and we could both sit together with her and talk through those things. But now we don't have that option. So there are times I feel so overwhelmed because I have to talk to her about some of these things, and I feel like she has become more resistant to me talking to her than she used to when her father was around. The other thing that I have experienced is judgment. Wow, you guys, most African countries, Kenya not excluded. Kwanza Kenya, wow. The bashing single mothers get from society on a daily basis. Yani, I have been bashed so many times. I have seen so many other single mothers being bashed. Sometimes not even for doing anything, just for the fact that you're a single mother. And there's also the expectation in society that because you are raising a child alone, that they will automatically not be successful, or they will automatically have discipline issues, or they will automatically be spoiled. There's usually that presumption in our society. So you feel so judged. So when your teenager does something that is not out of the norm for teenagers to do, because teenagers do get into a lot of troubles, they do get into mischief, and because they are very good at pushing boundaries. And when your child as a single mother does something that other teenagers would do, you are treated with such brutality. Like the things people say, the assumptions, some just even just give up, like they don't care, like that one, achana na huyo ni mtoto wa single mother. It hurts, guys. It hurts, guys. Because by the way, there are very many shakers and movers in this world who were raised by single mothers, and they're doing phenomenal things. So don't assume just because a teenager is acting out or misbehaving that it's automatically the mother's fault because she's a single mother. That's just, it's cruel, it's ignorant, and it's just foolish. Yeah. So how do you cope with these challenges? And there are many others. One of the things I've learned, and I have by talking to other parents and seeking advice and help from other people, is setting boundaries. With teenagers, you have to set very, very clear boundaries. And the other, going to number 2, is when you set these boundaries, do not excuse bad behavior, no matter how subtle it may seem, it may appear. If a rule is broken, you have to address it immediately, and do not excuse bad behavior. It starts with excusing small things like you told that child to sweep the house, and when you got home they have not swept the house, and you let it go. Don't. It starts with those subtle things, but if you keep excusing those small the bad wrong things they're doing, they keep breaking, they're testing the boundaries, they're testing the waters, so they keep doing small wrong things. They'll come home, you find a sink full of dishes. I thought I told you to wash the dishes. They'll be like, oh my goodness, I forgot, I'll do it now. Don't let them get away with that. I told you to wash the dishes. The dishes have been in the sink the entire day. I've gone to work, I've come back home, the sink is still full of dishes. That is irresponsible and unacceptable, and for that, this is going to happen. They know that they are doing the wrong thing, so when you start excusing every time they do something wrong, it will escalate. The wrong things will become bigger. Do not blame yourself every time your child acts out or misbehaves. Every time a teenager does something outrageous, don't be too quick to blame yourself. Of course, there are times when some parents are irresponsible. They are just not concerned. They're never there. They don't talk to their children. They don't have a relationship with their children. They don't even know. If you ask them, what's the name of your child's class teacher? I don't know. What class is your child in? I don't know. They just pay school fees and they move on with their lives. Of course, in that case, you could be the reason that your child is acting out. But a lot of the times, good parents who are involved, engaged, and just doing their best to raise these little humans, sometimes their children will still, when they're teenagers, they will still do things that make them shudder and wonder where they went wrong. Don't be too quick to blame yourself. Sometimes it really has nothing to do with you. Remember, these teenagers are growing, their brains are developing, their bodies are changing, they are confused, their hormones are all over. Sometimes it honestly has nothing to do with you, and you might, if it's really, really bad, the good thing, like I said earlier, there are many avenues nowadays where you can get help, and where you can get professional help if need be, so that you can help your teenager transition into adulthood more smoothly. And more often than not, even the most rogue of teenagers end up being very productive, very independent and balanced adults. Then do not be reactive, be proactive. When they start saying mean things and they're doing that to hurt you, don't engage them. But after they finish lashing out, whatever words come out of your mouth, if you must speak, be calm, let them know how you feel. For example, if she's telling you how you're incapable of being a parent, and you know that's not true, after they're done, Just let them know, Jay, you're not a child anymore. And all those things told me are so hurtful and mean. And you know that, and you are doing it to be mean. And that's not right. And remember, words hurt, and once they're out, they cannot be taken back. And then if you're washing dishes, and then like nothing happened, I'm telling you, okay, I don't know if that works for me. I don't know if it works for other parents, but that works for me. Because I think sometimes they expect aggression back. So when you don't give them aggression, even when you just keep quiet and look at them, it throws them off. And it also brings them to a point of reason where they realize, oh my God, what did I just do? Why did I do that? I should not have done that. And they become remorseful. And you see, when they're the ones who are feeling that, it's not you trying to make them feel bad. It's they realize they've done something wrong. That is how behavioral change begins, because they know it's not you. They know, they realize, oh my gosh, that was wrong of me. And more often than not, they'll come back later and just apologize and tell you, I'm sorry. Or you just notice that they've stopped. The lashing out has either stopped or reduced, and with time it will end eventually. Whatever issues they have, they will grow. Zitaisha. Then allow your teenagers to make mistakes, as long as you've taught them the right thing and the wrong thing. If they choose to do the wrong thing, don't go and try to clean up their mess. Let them pay for their crime. That's how people learn. That's how people learn how to take responsibility, and that is what helps them eventually become adults who are responsible, because they understand the pain of the repercussions of doing the wrong thing. Last but not least, get support. There are so many support groups out there for single mothers. Just look for a group where there are like-minded people that value parenting, that value children, that just really just want to bring up children who are healthy, happy, and productive human beings. So there's so many. You can check online, some even meet in person. You can talk to your family members if you have a good relationship with them. You can talk to your parents if that also works for you. Just don't raise a teenager by yourself. If you need professional help, because there are times it's really, really bad. I have seen, if your child is doing drugs, for instance, and it's affecting their education, they're becoming a problem in school, they've been suspended, they've been expelled, all these things are happening, you might need to get professional help. And there's no shame in getting your child to talk to a psychologist or a counselor or even a psychiatrist. There is no shame in that. You better help that child deal with their demons now than deal with the repercussions of them being a dysfunctional adult later, because they just had a really shaky teenagehood that ended up messing up their life. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, share, and comment. Tell me, what are some of, if you're a single mom, single dad, what are some of the challenges you've had raising your teenagers, and how are you navigating that? Until next time, bye-bye.